Today, we are going to look at The Courage to be Disliked by philosophers and authors Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga. This book says that real freedom comes when you stop trying to please everyone around you. And that sounds easy, but for most people, it is very hard. By the way, do you ever feel like you are not good enough? Do you work hard every day, but still feel something is missing? Do you worry a lot about what other people think of you? If yes, you are not alone. Many people feel this way. But what if your biggest problem is not your past? Not your job and not other people, but the way you think? In this video, we will look at the big ideas from this book. By the end, you will have a new way to see yourself and your life. Chapter 1. The First Night, a Young Man's Question. Let us start with a story. There is a young man. He is not happy. He thinks life has been unfair to him. He had a hard childhood. He is not very confident. He does not have many friends. He often feels scared around people. Because of this, he has never really tried to go after his dreams. One day, he hears about an old philosopher. This philosopher lives in a small house at the edge of the city. People say he has some strange ideas that many people do not agree with. The young man wants to visit him. He wants to argue with him. He wants to show that the philosopher is wrong. The young man knocks on the door. The philosopher opens it and smiles. "Come in," the philosopher says. "I have been waiting for someone like you." This is how the book begins. The book is written as a talk, a long conversation between the young man and the philosopher. The story happens over 5 nights. Each night they talk for a long time. Each night the young man argues and sometimes gets angry. But each night he also learns something new. The first big question the young man asks is this: can people really change? He does not think they can. He thinks our past controls us. If you had a bad childhood, you will always feel that pain. If something bad happened to you, it will always control your life. Many people think this way. And it makes sense, right? But the philosopher says no. And his reason is very surprising. He says your past does not control you. Your goal controls you. What does this mean? The philosopher says we do not act because of what happened to us. We act because of what we want right now. For example, think about someone who says, "I cannot go outside because I feel scared." The philosopher says this person is not scared because of the past. This person uses the feeling of being scared as a reason to stay home, because going outside feels hard. This idea comes from Alfred Adler. He was a doctor who studied people's minds. He lived more than 100 years ago. Adler said the important question is not what happened to you, but what do you want to do? The young man does not like this idea. He gets angry, and he says this idea blames people for their own problems. But the philosopher says this is not about blame. This is about power. If your past controls you, you have no power. But if your choices control you, you have all the power. This is the first big idea of the book. You are not a victim of your past. You can choose how to live today. Let us think about a simple example. Think about 2 people. Both of them had a very hard childhood. Both felt pain. Now they are adults. The first person says, "Because of my past, I cannot trust people. My past made me this way." The second person says, "My past was hard. But today, I choose to try again. I choose to meet new people." Both people had the same kind of past, but they make different choices. So their lives will be very different. Adler said people are not pushed by the past. People are pulled by the future, by what they want, by what they are afraid of, by what they try to avoid. If your past is the problem, you cannot change it. The past is already done. But if your thinking is the problem, you can change that. Today, right now. Chapter 2. The second night, all problems come from other people. The young man comes back the next night. He still does not agree. But he is interested. This time, the philosopher says something even more surprising. All of your problems, he says, come from your relationships with other people. The young man stops. All of them? He asks. All of them, the philosopher says. Think about this. When you feel lonely, it is because you compare yourself to other people. When you feel like you failed, it is because you think other people see you as a failure. When you feel angry, it is usually because someone did or said something that hurt you. Even when you feel sad about a dream you did not reach, it is often because you care about what other people think of you. The philosopher says most of our unhappiness comes from one thing. We want other people to like us. We want people to say we are good. We want to feel like we belong. So we change ourselves. We hide parts of who we are. We say yes when we want to say no. We try to look good, not to feel good. This is very tiring. And it does not really work. Because you cannot control what other people think. So what is the answer? The philosopher talks about an idea called separation of tasks. He says it like this: every action and every feeling belongs to someone. Some things are your job, your task. Other things are other people's job, their task. The most important thing is to know the difference. For example, your task is to be kind to someone. But whether that person says thank you or not, that is their task. Your task is to do good work. But whether your boss says well done or not, that is their task. Your task is to be honest. But whether people like your honesty or not, that is their task. This does not mean you stop caring about people. It means you stop trying to control things that are not yours to control. The young man thinks about this. But what about love? He asks. If I love someone, I have to care about what they think, right? The philosopher smiles. Of course you care. But there is a big difference between caring and trying to control. Real love means you give without asking for something back. Let us use a simple example. You cook dinner for a friend. You work hard to make it nice. But your friend eats it and says, "It was okay." You feel hurt. You feel like your work was wasted. But whose task was it to cook? Yours. You cooked because you wanted to. That was your job. Whose task was it to react to the food? Your friends. How they feel about the food is their job. You cannot decide that for them. And if you expect them to love it, you are mixing up your task with theirs. This feels strange at first, but try it. Think of something in your life that makes you unhappy. Maybe a relationship. Maybe a worry about what someone thinks of you. Now ask, is this really my task, or is it someone else's task? Very often, you will find that you are carrying something that is not yours to carry. When you know what is your task and what is not, you feel lighter. You feel free. Chapter 3. The third night, the courage to be disliked. By the third night, the young man is a little different. He still argues, but his questions are now deeper, more personal. He asks, if I stop trying to make everyone happy, people will not like me. Is that okay? And here, the philosopher says the words that give the book its title. Yes, he says, you need the courage to be disliked. This is a very strong idea. Let us think about it slowly. Most of us make choices based on what other people will think. We choose our clothes, our words, our jobs, our friends. And we always think about how other people will see us. We are always trying to look good. We are always trying to be good enough. But the philosopher says this is like a prison. And we build this prison ourselves. When you live to make other people happy, you are never really free. You are always waiting for someone to say, "You are good enough." But that moment never really comes. Even when someone praises you, you feel worried again. Will they still like me tomorrow? What if I make a mistake? So the philosopher says real freedom starts when you stop needing other people to say you are good. This does not mean you become a bad person. It does not mean you stop caring about others. It means you make choices because you want to, not because you are afraid. The young man asks, "But is that not lonely? If I do not care what people think, will I lose my friends?" This is a very good question. And the philosopher's answer is beautiful. He says, loneliness is not about being alone. Loneliness is about feeling you cannot be yourself with other people. When you are brave enough to be disliked, you can finally show your real self. And real friendship, real love, these things only happen when you are real. Think about your own life. Do you have a friend you can be completely yourself with? Or do you always have to act a little different, hide a little? The courage to be disliked does not push people away. It brings the right people closer, because you are being real. Chapter 4. The fourth night, you are enough right now. On the fourth night, the talk goes even deeper. The young man has a feeling that many people have. He feels like he is not enough, not smart enough, not successful enough, not happy enough. He always thinks about a better future version of himself. And he says to himself, "I will be happy when I get there." Do you know this feeling? I will be happy when I get a better job. I will be happy when I lose some weight. I will be happy when I find love. I will be happy when. The philosopher says this kind of thinking is a trap. He talks about two ways people see their own value. The first way is value by what you do. This means you only feel good about yourself when you win, when you reach a goal, or when other people say you did well. But this feeling is very weak. It breaks easily, because there is always something more to do, and one mistake can destroy everything. The second way is value by being. This means you feel good about yourself just because you exist, not because of what you do, just because you are you. The philosopher uses the example of a baby. A baby cannot work. It cannot talk well. It cannot help anyone. But do parents love their baby less? Of course not. The baby has value just because it is here. The philosopher says we are all the same. We have value just because we are alive. This is hard to believe. We live in a world that says work hard, win, be successful. We are judged by what we do. So we forget that our value comes from something much deeper. The philosopher also talks about something he calls community feeling. He says the deepest happiness does not come from other people saying, "Well done." It comes from feeling that you help others, that you are part of something bigger than yourself. Not because someone is watching, not because you get a prize, just because helping people makes you feel connected. And that feeling of connection is what makes life good. The young man is quiet for a long time. Then he says, "I have been running my whole life. Running towards something? But I never asked why I was running, or if reaching that thing would really make me happy." The philosopher nods. Most people never ask that question, he says. But asking it is the start of real change. The philosopher also talks about the feeling of not being enough. He calls this the inferiority feeling. When this feeling is very strong, people use it as an excuse. They say, "I cannot do that because I'm not smart enough. I cannot try because I might fail." They use their weak points to build walls around themselves. But Adler said a small inferiority feeling can be good. It can push you to grow. The feeling is not the problem. What you do with that feeling is what matters. Some people go the other way. They act like they are better than everyone. They show off. They put other people down. The philosopher says this also comes from the same feeling of not being enough. It is just a different way to hide that feeling. Real confidence is different. It is quiet. It does not need to show off. It does not need to win. It just is. Chapter 5. The fifth night, live in the here and now. On the last night, the young man comes early. Something has changed in him. He looks calmer, but he still has one more question. If I accept all of this, he says, if I stop living for the future, stop worrying about the past, stop trying to make everyone happy, then what? What do I do with my life? The philosopher smiles. He says this is the most important question of all. And his answer is simple: live here, live now. He says that most people live in one of two places. They live in the past. They feel sorry about old mistakes. They wish things were different. Or they live in the future. They make big plans and wait for the right moment to start living. But the past is already gone. And the future is not here yet. The only real moment is this one, right now. The philosopher tells the young man to think about a long, dark hallway. At the end of the hallway, there is a bright light. Most people walk through the hallway and only look at the light. They just want to reach the end. They do not look left or right. They do not notice the hallway at all. But what if the hallway is your life? What if the simple moments, a Tuesday morning, a cup of tea, a short talk with a friend, a quiet evening, are the most important parts? What if the light at the end is not the point? The philosopher says, stop waiting. Stop putting your life on hold. The moments you are living right now, even the hard ones, even the boring ones, these are your life. They are not practice. They are the real thing. Think about your own life. When you eat, do you taste your food? Or are you thinking about work? When you talk to someone, do you really listen? Or do you think about what to say next? When you walk outside, do you look at the sky? Or do you look at your phone? The philosopher says a good life is not made of a perfect past or a perfect future. A good life is made of small, simple moments where you are really here, really listening, really alive. He also says something important about goals. Goals are not bad. Goals can help you. But do not live only for goals. He says, do not think of your life as a road to a place. Think of it as a dance. A dance does not have a place to arrive. When you dance, you do not try to reach the other side of the room. You just enjoy the music. You enjoy the movement. You enjoy the moment. And when the music stops, the dance was good not because you arrived somewhere, but because you were really there. This is the last message of the book. Life is not something you get ready for. Life is something you live. And you can start living it, really living it, right now. Conclusion: what we learned. So let us go back and look at what we learned from The Courage to be Disliked. The first big idea: your past does not control you. Your choices do. You always have the power to change. The second big idea: most of our problems come from our relationships with other people. We want people to like us and say we are good. But when we learn what is our task and what is other people's task, we feel much freer. The third big idea: real freedom needs the courage to be disliked. When you stop acting for other people and start being real, you can have real friendships and real happiness. The fourth big idea: you do not need to do something special to have value. You already have value just because you exist. Happiness is not at the end of a long road. You can choose it right now. by helping others and connecting with people around you. And the fifth big idea: life is not a road. It is a dance. Live in the present. Be here. Be yourself. These ideas are simple, but they are not easy. It takes time and practice to change the way you think. It takes courage, the same courage the title talks about. But here is the good news. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need to change everything at once. You just need to start. Take one small step toward living more freely and more honestly. And maybe that step starts today. Now, here is a small challenge for you. Of all the ideas we talked about in this video, the courage to be disliked, the separation of tasks, living in the here and now, which one hit you the most? Try writing your answer in English in the comments below. Writing about your feelings in English is a great way to get better at writing. Even 1 or 2 sentences is fine. Go ahead and try it. See you in the next one.